welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today it is the 8th day of our advent calendar of holiday horror movie reviews as we count down to Christmas, and today I'm tackling the 2017 movie Anna and the Apocalypse. This is one that is honestly a bit of a sticking point with me, not because of the quality or the content of the film, but because I really desperately wanted to get it in last year at the advent calendar then, because I had heard about it, I saw that it was released in theaters, and it just hadn't made it to any kind of legal streaming methodology that I could, watch and pull from and review. And I really wanted to get it in, and it came in just after Christmas, and oh well. I basically had to kind of sit on this one for an entire year because I didn't want to review it outside of the advent calendar. I knew that I'd be doing another one in 2019, so I specifically set this one aside to do later, and that means I had to put my blinders on to really pretty much ignore all the posts that I saw about it as the year progressed. And now, I have finally seen it! I have done it, and I'm ready to report on it. So, this is, for those of you that have never heard of this movie, this is a zombie comedy horror musical around Christmas. Yeah. And honestly, it achieves a massive amount of success on every single one of those fronts. Directed by John McPhail, this movie has the titular character of Anna, played by Ella Hunt, who is a graduating high school student. And her plans before going to uni is to basically take a gap year and travel the world. Specifically, in her plans is Australia. She has even went and bought the ticket. And the movie opens up with her reveal of that accidentally to her father as the fireworks ensue from there. And in the midst of all this hubbub, we kind of get introduced to John, her best friend, as well as a few other friends of hers, and just generally kind of the student body menagerie of who would be dealing with in the rest of the movie. As we find, their characters interacting with one another, we learn a little bit more about them. We learn that, through a very good instance of show don't tell, the fact that Anna's mother has passed away, so it's just her and her dad, that her dad is the janitor of the school, so on and so forth. And as Christmas time looms, all of a sudden, a situation happens where a zombie outbreak occurs. And it then becomes a situation of survival as well as just the age-old story of we need to get back together. Everybody's kind of split off to the four winds. Anna's separated from her dad. We just need to find a safe space, find everybody, make sure everybody's safe, and we're good to go. And that's pretty much the rest of the movie. So it's a fairly simple concept, but it's executed extraordinarily well. It always has a tongue-in-cheek kind of sense of humor about it, especially at the beginning. And in my attempt to keep blinders on about this movie, I did happen to see one reviewer in big bold letters across one of the trailers or posters or whatnot say that this movie is a lot like Shaun of the Dead meets La La Land. And you know what? That's as apt of a description as I could possibly think of. This movie has a very strong Shaun of the Dead kind of feel to it, with that level of humor underlying the zombie apocalypse and so forth, right down to the main characters. When the zombie apocalypse really kicks off, the main characters' obliviousness of the situation as they just go on with their ordinary lives.
Not letting anybody bring me down. I'm ready for turning my life around.
But that's not to say that this is unoriginal. It takes a lot of cues and a lot of inspiration from a million sources, but it still remains extraordinarily original with the level of characters that they had, with the subplots that it had, as well as the musical nature of this. It's nothing that I really ever expected to see, but damn, it worked. It really worked. I'm not huge on musicals. I will say that straight out. I do like them from time to time, but if you're just taking them and putting them in their own subcategory of film, and if you're talking like comedy, drama, horror, musicals, if it's its own category, it's not one that I actively go and seek out very often. But this being a musical, it didn't, dissuade me at all, and I kept an open mind, and I will say that the musical numbers that are within this film really work. I loved them. I even went back and watched a few of them over again because I just thought they were so darn catchy.
Trapped in a moment, ready to fly.
Scared you might fly.
I've gotta find my way.
How can I get you to
Sooner or
stay?
later, it doesn't say goodbye. We don't have to break away.
I'm not ashamed to admit it. It's a little poppy. It's a little, Glee-ish, but I still enjoyed them. I thought they worked really well, and they contributed to a good tone and feel of the movie while progressing the plot forward. Somehow, I wound up watching a delightful, fun, and heartfelt romp that embodies everything that I love about lighthearted zombie movies, musicals, and Christmas. And every single aspect of that worked, individually and as a cohesive package. I'm going to go ahead and throw up all the scores here. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And high marks all around, including one of the most revered things that I've only done once before, and that's a full 25 points in the intent category. That is rare. I've only done that once before, and that was with 120 Days of Sodom. Because, man, that achieved what it set out to do. And you know what? So did this one, in a very different way, thank goodness. Much less poo. I honestly think that one of the things that saved this movie was the fact that it managed to keep its tempo going. And that's one of the that's what it would have been the biggest mistake it could have made. The easiest mistake it could have made. Because you take the nature of something like this. Okay, well, we're going to have a Christmas movie about zombies with high schoolers, and we're going to make it be a musical. Okay, well, now you've established, you take the first bit of the movie, the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, and you establish your characters, and you establish kind of the hook of what's going on, the tone of the movie, what's going to be happening throughout it, and the nature of the viewing experience. And in this case, it was extraordinarily original. It worked really well. The introduction really established things. I'm not going to say the easy part, but the foundation has been cast. Now we have to continue on. This is not a race. This is a marathon. And to fill in an entire hour and a half, we have to get beyond that initial whimsical premise and actually stretch that out into a feature-length motion picture that doesn't have massive lulls in the middle. And although this one has down tempos, it never really deviates into full-on lulls. I never really checked out of this movie. It doesn't keep up, with a tempo of, like a full-on, right up to 11 the entire time. It has its downbeats, but it knows when to pick it back up, and it does so. And it uses those downbeats as successful character progression and growth moments. So honestly, it worked. Everything about the tempo of this one worked. And so that was the biggest pitfall it could have landed in, and it managed to avoid it. So, I have no problem giving this a grand total of 88 out of 100 points. I thought this was a fantastic watch. I'm not going to say this is my favorite Christmas horror movie, but it's right up there. It is easily in the top 5. And based on that, I would say that I absolutely recommend this movie. I think it is a must watch for any lover of zombie movies, for any lover of comedic horror, for any lover of musicals. And don't make the mistake of thinking this is all comedy and all slapstick and silliness. This has some good heart to it as well, and some good heart-wrenching moments as a result of that. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend this and say it is a must watch for any horror movie lover. So that should do it. That is my review of 2017's Anna and the Apocalypse. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, my Patreon and my merchandise storefront links are below. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.